Hello, so my name is Sydney, and for the food history presentation, I had peanut butter. Before I can go into the history of peanut butter, I have to talk about the history and origin of peanuts. So, peanuts most likely originated in Peru or Brazil, and as early as 1500 BC, the Incan tribe used peanuts as offerings during different ceremonies and also entombed peanuts during different mummification processes of important people to them. From there, explorers from Europe discovered peanuts in Brazil and brought them back to Spain. More exploration and traveling caused them to spread to Asia and Africa, and then the Africans were the first to introduce peanuts to North America in the 1700s. Peanuts were first grown in the U.S. in Virginia, and they were grown for oil, food, and as a cocoa substitute. During this time, peanuts were considered very difficult to grow because they had to be hand-picked and hand-harvested. So peanuts were thought to be for livestock and the poor people. Peanuts weren't commercially grown in the United States until later in the 1800s. Peanut popularity began to grow after the Civil War. Soldiers had enjoyed them while they were off at war and took them home, and they became more popular from there. Popularity grew even more thanks to P.T. Barnum's traveling circus show, with vendors that sold hot peanuts to people attending the show. After that, street vendors as well as baseball games began to also sell peanuts, and the popularity continued to grow. Although production did have to increase due to the popularity growing, there was still not a good system for harvesting peanuts, and this created low quality peanuts that were inconsistent, and the demand still remained relatively low because of this difficult harvesting process. To make up for the low demand, revolutionary equipment for peanut production was created around the year 1900. It was invented to greatly increase the peanut production process. This new process was labor saving and basically changed every single aspect of the production of peanuts. So there was now a new way of planting, cultivating, and harvesting, as well as an improved way of shelling and cleaning the peanuts. With this invention, the demand as well as the production of peanuts grew rapidly. In the early 1900s, peanuts became a prominent agricultural crop in the United States, and it became so prominent that it even rivaled cotton production in the South. And this prominent agricultural crop of peanuts was thanks in part to George Washington Carver, who kind of helped improve the process of peanut production. So George Washington Carver was a scientist that researched how to grow peanuts as well as other plants. He published a piece called How to Grow the Peanut and 105 Ways of Preparing It for Human Consumption in 1916. He discovered over 300 new uses for the peanut, and because of this, he really helped save the economy of the South. They were able to really increase their production of peanuts and use them for multiple different things. Now getting into the invention of peanut butter. Peanut butter was thought to be first invented by the Inca Indians in South America, and it was made by grinding up peanuts manually. Later in the United States, Dr. John Harvey Kellogg invented a version of peanut butter in 1895, and because of this, special grinders were made specifically for grinding peanuts called nut butter mills, and people often had these in their homes. I thought this was an interesting example of a old peanut butter recipe that would be used in the late 1800s, and it was created by Ella Kellogg, John Harvey Kellogg's wife, and for this recipe you would need a nut butter mill, blanched peanuts, and water. And the steps of this recipe included placing dry peanuts in a double boiler and cooking them for 8 to 10 hours. And then you added water until the desired consistency was reached and cooked the peanuts again for just a few minutes until the natural oils of the peanuts emerged. Then you would grind up the peanuts with the nut butter mill and add additional water if desired just to get the consistency you want. And then you would place the mixture in a covered bean pot and bake for 8 to 10 hours in a moderate oven. So clearly this was a difficult and lengthy process, and I thought this was interesting to compare with how peanut butter is made today. So new developments in peanut butter started from a physician from St. Louis who developed peanut butter as a protein substitute for some of his older patients who could no longer chew and eat meat, so they needed another source of protein in their diet. And he was responsible for bringing peanut butter to the St. Louis World's Fair in 1904, where it really gained popularity worldwide. And peanut butter also became a crucial part of the armed forces rations during World War I and II, and it is thought that peanut butter and jelly sandwiches have been popularized by soldiers in World War II. Additional advancements were made with peanut butter, including plastic jar packaging, which was pioneered by the Popeye brand in 1965. The plastic jars saved on transportation and handling costs versus the glass jars that were originally used. And the plastic jars also eliminated breakage, which allowed the price to consumers to be decreased. Other advancements are chunky versus creamy peanut butter, and Skippy was the first brand to do chunky, as well as powdered peanut butter, which is thought to be lower fat and low calorie. And an example brand that creates that is PB2. Today, peanut butter is a very important aspect of our economy and society. It is the 12th most valuable cash crop that is produced and grown in the United States. It has a farm value of over $1 billion. The prime market for peanut butter in the United States is edible consumption, which surprisingly enough has a different market in different countries around the world. Peanut butter as well as peanut candy are some of the most popular forms of peanut butter that is sold today. Americans eat an average of over 6 pounds of peanut products per year, which is about $2 million worth of retail. Peanut butter accounts for half of the U.S. edible peanut use. The other half goes to whole peanuts, snacks, and other things like that. And peanut oil is considered premium and high quality for cooking, so it is one of the more common oils that is used in cooking. And these are the sources that I used. Thank you.